In 1991, people all over the world were shocked when the Soviet Union, then one of the world's superpowers, broke into 15 independent nations. After nearly 73 years of communist propaganda that aggressively promoted atheism, what was the spiritual state of the almost 300 million people who lived in these now independent nations? Then, and still today in the former USSR, less than 1% of the people are evangelical Christians. And in Ukraine, the Bible Belt of the Soviet nation, that number is only 3%. Following Ukraine's independence, there was great spiritual openness and curiosity. Many people heard the gospel and responded. Now, several years later, that spiritual openness has faded. People are much more concerned with materialism and just plain survival. Unemployment and the second highest inflation rate in Europe lead many Ukrainians to despair. Alcohol and drug abuse are rampant problems. Nearly 40% of Ukrainian men are alcoholics, and Ukraine has the fastest growing rate of AIDS or HIV in all of Europe. This escalating problem is related both to increasing drug abuse and sexual promiscuity. The church is struggling to reach its unbelieving neighbors with the gospel of Christ and then to minister to the believers in their congregations. Why? One of the main reasons is a lack of national church leaders. Unfortunately, about 50% of all Ukrainian churches have no pastor of their own. Of those churches that do have a pastor, most of these pastors have to work other jobs to make ends meet, and they have no formal education whatsoever. Most Christian youth today are choosing a secular education over a Christian one. They understand the need to provide for their families in an unstable economy. This is also important, but the question is, where will the next generation of Christian leaders come from? At Donetsk Christian University, or DCU, our mission is to train that next generation of Christian leaders. Our vision is to help the church move forward in the 21st century and see the kingdom of God grow. DCU has two strategic goals. The first is to teach and train missionaries and pastors. We've been doing this since 1991 to help plant churches across the former USSR. Our second goal is to influence society by preparing graduates to think critically and act creatively in impacting a changing world for Christ. Now, all of our graduates won't necessarily go into professional ministry. We prepare them to be salt and light in whatever profession God calls them to. What is DCU doing to meet these goals? DCU offers bachelor degrees in 3 specialties: theology, missions, and church planting. Presently, DCU has about 60 students in these programs. Additional specialties include Christian translation, counseling, and Christian ethics that are being developed to meet new needs in the church. Our full-time bachelor students not only focus on academic knowledge or excellence, but work on developing ministry skills in local churches, orphanages, rehabilitation ministries, and short-term missions. We mentor spiritual formation through prayer groups and through teacher-student relationships. Our part-time bachelor program was developed in 2003 to allow Christian leaders to continue in their ministries while working towards a degree. In recent years, this has become our most popular bachelor program. DCU also has about 200 students involved in 4 different certificate programs. They focus on preaching, teaching Sunday school, English, and theology. In most churches, lay people assist the pastor, if they have one, every week with the preaching. Because most of these lay preachers have no training, DCU started offering Saturday courses in 2006 in how to interpret and preach from the Bible. Another certificate program began in the autumn of 2006 to train Sunday school teachers. It was illegal in the former Soviet Union to teach all children under 18 years of age about God. But today, though, many churches want to minister to children, but they have no means or experience to train their children's workers. Responding to this need, DCU started a Sunday school teacher training program. How successful has Donetsk Christian University been in meeting our educational goals? Let's answer the question by taking a closer look at DCU's more than 600 graduates serving throughout Ukraine and the former USSR. DCU graduates are working in 52 mission organizations, in 260 churches, in 20 different church denominations. For example, in Western Ukraine, 2 of our graduates, Alina and Olga, designed a government-accredited program for teaching Christian ethics in public schools. The staff and students of DCU use this program to teach Christian ethics and to teach about the dangers of AIDS in public schools in the Donetsk area. One of our first graduates, Vyacheslav, returned to his hometown in the country of Tajikistan, where less than 0.1% of the people are evangelical Christians. Now, Tajikistan is a closed nation, closed to Christian missionaries. So officially, he's an artist. But he pastors a church of 60 people that he planted among the Muslim people in the Pamir Mountains. In Siberia, 2 of our graduates, Igor and Oksana, work along the Chinese border. Many Chinese come over the border both to study and work. Through their ministry, along and sometimes even inside the border of China, Igor and Oksana help to support the unregistered church as they reach out to 53 ethnic minority groups in China. Another graduate, Valerie, and her husband Slava work north of the Arctic Circle in Siberia. They planted a church in the town of Pevek. Each year they organize evangelistic outreaches, including children's camps, and they travel throughout the islands of Chakota, where there are 140,000 people who need to hear about Christ. Now you may be thinking, how can I get involved? What role can I play? Can I make a difference? Let's consider the illustration of a fruit tree. The teachers and the staff of DCU form the trunk of the tree. We then connect to our students and graduates who form the branches of the tree. It is those graduates and students who yield the fruit, bringing people to Christ, seeing lives changed in Ukraine, Russia, and beyond. But obviously, there's something missing. What is it? It's the roots. We need partners all over the world to provide the necessary resources and support for DCU to help grow the kingdom of God across the former USSR. We currently have partners all over the world who pray regularly for our staff, for students, and for graduates. Some partners support our work through student scholarships, or they give for continuing education for national teachers. Still other partners come for short-term missionary trips. They partner with us in evangelistic outreach using English to draw non-Christian students. Yet others are involved in work projects to improve our campus and our educational system. We have partners who provide funds needed for new programs and for building improvements and projects. We also use qualified teachers from the West to teach courses to our bachelor students every year. Friend, whatever your interest is, there is a way that you can partner with us in this exciting ministry. We would invite you to prayerfully consider our giving catalog and ask if God is leading you to make a difference for the kingdom of God among the people of Ukraine and the former Soviet Union. You count, friend, and you can make a difference.